All right. On. So this is particularly the third session of this series. Now into the first one, what we have talked about is all about what is HTML, what is CSS, what is front end, what is back end. We did a basic of HTML. We did worked about p tag, h tag, br tag, hr tag, and all that basic of HTML and CSS. And we did a basic brainstorming as well. Then on the next part we talked about, okay, what is Bootstrap, what is responsive designing, what is this fancy stuff all about. So then we talked about that what are the different components of Bootstrap. Then again we did a basic brainstorming, we did basic tweaking on the stuff, okay, and we learned it into the interactive manner. Now into this particular session we'll be going to talk about the backend. Enough of front end we have done to get us started, to get a kickstart of that. Now onward we'll be going to talk about backend, and once we'll be basically clear with the backend, sorry, then we'll be moving on to the collaboration of front end and backend. So into the backend, what we'll be going to use is Django. And what is particularly Django? Django is the one of the best web development framework available out there, which uses Python as the language to be communicated to write the code, and is being acknowledged and used by lot many websites, even whether it be YouTube, Instagram, Netflix, and many other websites are totally relying on Django for their backend part. Now the question arises, what is backend? Why not front end as the complete website? So backend means, I just want to draw something on the tool. Suppose you are looking at a website, okay, into a website. Let's suppose I'll take the example of pyrita.org, which we just have visited. Now, so you are looking at this particular website. Now, into this website, there is something like full schedule and the other events going on. Now, obviously, no one would come to the website and schedule the event again and again and again and again and again. No. What the person needs to do is, the person needs to work on an admin panel. Into the admin panel, the person will give a particular title of the event, the date of the event, the flag or the country of the event, okay, and then the event would be displayed right here. Now how this particular thing is going on? With the help of backend. This mechanism is known as backend, which is running at the back, okay, simply putting, which is running at the back, and we seem like, okay, there is nothing going on. What we are seeing right here is that, okay, there is just a carousel going on right here. This is known as a carousel element of Bootstrap or HTML or whichever component you are using. A carousel is going on into which someone has given the image of, I guess it's Australian flag, okay, some American flag, my bad, and this is the name of the event and the date of the event. Okay, then some other flag, some other date, some other name. Then if we move on, some other flag, some other date, some other name. We think like someone has placed it right here itself, and this could be true as well. But the thing is, this is not being statically placed. This is altogether coming from a backend and rendering into the front end part. If I show you the CultSkills website, so do you think like I just have placed these all things statically into right here? No. So basically there is an admin panel into which I can just add any value, replace any value, delete any value, and it will get updated. Okay. So if I want to remove, change this Django to full stack, I can easily do that into my admin panel without changing anything into the code. I cannot show you the admin panel right here, it involves a lot of passwords and all, but the thing is that it gets changed by its own whenever I change it anything on the admin panel. Okay, so this is what the meaning of backend is. Now coming on to front end, suppose you are looking, you are having a button right here, where this particular button will take you, what this particular button will be doing, what will be the source of communication into front end and back end. So this is your back end part, okay, some ugly server, obviously not visible to the user, and this is your front end part, quite beautiful and well placed component are there. Now there is a form. Now after the form there is some button. So when you click the button, the data should be stored. How the data would be stored? That particular terminology is known as data transfer from front end to back end. And as I told you into the event part, the data is coming from backend to front end. So there are basically two kind of data flow, front end to backend and backend to front end. Now if we can implement this, if we know what is front end, if we know what is backend, if we know how to transfer the data, that is more than enough to start making the basic website. The other stuff will come into picture when we will talk about performance, that how our website would perform when concurrently on a single time 1000 users are using that website. So that thing is more on about optimization, but as of now you can see that this is the data flow is there, and the other thing is front end and the other thing is back end. So you need to know about front end, which we have already covered into the first and second module, the basic of that to get it started. Then another thing is back end, which we'll be going to talk about today and onwards in the few classes. And once we'll be clear with front end and back end, we'll be going to merge them together to talk about data flow. Am I clear with this so far? What is back end, what is front end? Any yes, any no on the audio? Okay, so another thing is the database, where the data gets stored. I got a lot of responses. Fine, 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 fine. Thank you. So the another layer on the architecture is the database. So where our data would be actually getting stored. So that thing can either be the part of backend itself, okay, or that thing can be an altogether different server. And what do I mean by part of the backend is not that it's being embedded into the embedded into this particular backend layer. No. What do I mean by part is that there would be a database represented by this cylindrical shape. Okay. And into this database can be stored parallelly or at the same place as of the backend. One possibility, and the other possibility is that this particular database would be stored at a remote place. Okay. Then what you are doing? Sorry. Then what you are doing is basically you are issuing request to your backend. Your backend is issuing request to the database, and database is reverting back to the backend, and the backend is reverting back to the front end. Something like this will go on. But this is primarily used when you have parallel databases going on. So one database, second database, RAID architecture, and those other complex architecture, or some big scale databases are going on. Now we'll not be going to talk about the implementation of database as of now. Firstly, we need to understand what is what is backend all about. So as I told you, we need to go. We will be using Django right here. So our first task should be to have Django installed in our system. And what is Django? Django is a package into Python. So even before the first task, our 0th task would be to have Python installed in our system. I hope it would be installed. If it is not installed, what you need to do is you need to go for python.org website. Okay, I hope all of you are on Windows. If you are on Linux, the Python would be already installed for you. If you are on Windows, click on downloads. Okay, when you click on download, you will get this button right here. Okay, just click on the button and install this for particularly your OS, for the Windows part itself. Okay, and if you are on Linux, it's already come installed, pre-installed. Okay, once you have Python, how many of you have Python already installed in your system? How many of you have Python installed already in your system?
So I am having the 3.7 version.
Whichever version you are having, that will be perfectly fine. No worries for that. Saurav doesn't have it. Okay. Jaren have it. Sangram have it. What about you, Shiv?
Wait, let me check.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yes, Sangram.
So there is any difference between the version 2 and version 3 of Python?
Yeah, actually there is a lot of difference between version 2 and version 3, and that difference lies into the back end of Python, the things how it's going on at the back end. But on the front part there is no such big difference. The things are that some changes into syntax itself, but into the performance and all there is a big difference actually.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, Shiv also have it. How can you check that? Just turn on your command prompt. Okay. and write there Python. It should show you some output. Okay, and particularly you can use multiple versions of Python. So I use two different versions of Python. One is Python, which is Python 2.7.17. One is Python 3, which is Python 3.6.9. You can have any version of Python. If you do not have it installed, what you can do is you can just search on YouTube for Cult Skills, and you can check for the playlist for Python course going on. And into the first video, you will find the complete understanding of how to install Python. That was the task being covered that into that Python series as well. Well, if you have Python, what you need to do is you need to come out of it and then write here the command pip install Django. I particularly use pip 3 version, so I will be writing pip 3, but you need to write pip if you are using pip, or pip 3 if you are using pip 3. It will install Django in your system. I already have it installed in my system. If it's of the older version, it will get updated. It's getting updated for some new version. Done. Once done, you need to check it with pip 3 or pip, whatever you're using, show Django. Yeah, so it's right there, version is 3.016. A basic summary of what is Django, homepage of Django, and author detail, author email, license, location requires, and all that. Okay, so what all you need to do is you need to firstly have Python installed in your system. I just write the steps right here so that if you will not forget it. Install Python. Second step is install Django. Verify Django installation. Okay, and all these things are mentioned into that particular video of the first video on the Python course, wherein we have talked about how to install Python, how to install the packages in Python, but still the basic codes are pip install Django and pip show Django. It will work for you. Now if you have Django with you, okay, then this will be your task at your home. So you can follow the video alongside and you can repeat the things at your home. Your next task would be to navigate to any particular directory wherever you want to work. So I want to work at desktop. Okay, I came out into the desktop. I need to launch a command Django -admin start project and the name of the project. So let's suppose I give the name of the project to be first project. Done. When I press enter, it will take a fraction of a second and it will make a directory at my given location desktop with the name of first project. Now into first project you will go and see there are already few files maintained. One file, one folder, into that some 4-5 files. They are already pre-stored right here, because this what I have created is not just a folder. I have created a Django project. I started a Django project. What you need to do next is navigate into this particular project, cd first project, make an app right here. I'll be telling you what is an app and what is a project. Django admin start app, name of the app would be first app, suppose. Okay, Django admins, not Zanago admin. So bad. Fine. So when you said first app folder is created with again 5-6 files into it, a migration folder and all that. So this whole comes pre-installed, all the Python files, migration folder, init.py. I'll be explaining about each and every single thing of them, but for now your task is to do this. Those who have already Django and Python installed in your system can do it now. I'll be waiting for them, but firstly let me tell you what I have done. So I have created a Django admin start project. So I have created a project and then I navigated into the project, and once I am inside the project, I have created an app. Now what is the meaning of project and what is the meaning of app altogether about this thing? So a project is the complete website itself, okay, or a particular domain, any .com you can think of would be the complete project of Django, okay. And what is this start app stuff? One project can have different apps, okay, just like cultskills.com has different apps. One app of courses, one app of bootcamp, not pages, app I'm saying about. So app means a logical functioning. Suppose Facebook has a different app of, suppose one is of login sign up, one is of Facebook pages, one is of Facebook groups, one is of Facebook developers, one is of gaming on Facebook, one is of messaging, one is of newsfeed and all that. So these could be different apps, and these apps are plug and playable. So one app can be used into different projects as well, but this thing we'll not be going to use right now because this is not much advisable to be used. Okay, so the hierarchy is there is one project which can have multiple apps, and one app can be used into multiple projects. But the next thing would be something like inside the project there would be an app. Never be like inside the app there would be a project or they both would be parallel. No, inside the project there will be an app. Fine. So Saurav, your task is to basically install Python in your system right now, and rest of you should go install Django, check the verify the installation of Django, and then launch these two commands and have these directories working with you so that we can move forward to explain you that what these files are all about. Or else what we can do is right now we can just move forward, and you can check on my screen all the files and all, and then at the home you can try installing and setting up the project by your own. Okay, and then you can refer the video for that if requires, or else you can communicate to me if any sort of error would persist, because right now we'll not be wasting time onto that much. Or what do you say, should we wait or should we move on? I'll wait for all the responses and then we'll take a kind of voting. So there are 4 people, high probability for a tie, but let's wait for it. Response, all of you, I need response from all of you. 4 people are there. I need 4 responses. Should we wait to you want to do it all along right now, or should we move on? That you can do it at your home as well. We'll be understanding of other concepts, the next concepts. I need answers from all of you, Sangram, Jaren, Shiv, Saurav. Make it fast, guys. It's a kind of one-word answer. Wait or next topic. Move on, sir, if anybody having no problem. Yeah, I'll wait for all of the answers. Fine. Fair. So enough of answers for moving on. There is no tie. I'm happy for that. But still, last answer I'm waiting for. Just take a screenshot of. Okay, the video itself is available to you. There is no need of taking screenshot, but you can take the screenshot. It's right here. The complete video would be available. But still, you want to take a screenshot, you can. I hope you have taken the screenshot. Now I'll be moving on. So the next task is what these things are all about. Okay, so that is something we need to learn right now. So this zzz.py is my file. I just use it for some other purpose. It has nothing to do with Django or any other project or app going on right here. The next thing is this first project folder. So this is the folder where your complete entire website would be stored inside. Okay, so inside this folder your entire website would be stored. Right. Now if you'll open this folder, you'll find 3 things. One is manage.py, one is first project, and one is first app. So first project, as the name suggests, that this is the name of the project is first project. So as it is the name is project, not app. So this folder would be having all the files related to the entire project. Entire, you can say facebook.com, cultskulls.com, or any .com. Entire project configuration would be stored and maintained right there. This folder is precise to or limited to this app only. Okay, so all the things required for at the level of an app would be maintained right here. So migration admin will study what these things are all about. Okay, so if I'll go outside one directory, then there is something like manage.py. So manage.py is something which will control the execution of whole of this. So whenever we will run the server, we will run this particular file only, and all the files would be connected to this in a kind of chain way. So a kind of chain would be maintained. So this will point to something, that thing will point to another thing, that will be point to another thing. So kind of linked list would be maintained. So now let's do one thing. Let's run the server right now. What do I mean by server? What do you need to write is Python 3. I need to call a Python file. So I will be using Python 3. You can use Python manage.py run server. Okay. So I have a server running at 127.0.0.1.8.000. This is the address of localhost. So I can replace 127.0.0.1 with localhost as well. What I'll be doing is I'll be opening here localhost. Colon 8000 because this is the port. Okay, now it's saying the installed worked successfully. Congratulations, you are seeing this page, this and this and this. Some links for Django. What is this? This is the first page of my website which Django has created for me already. Okay, so what does this mean is that with Django you can basically launch a website within 5 minutes, not more than that. Now you can start designing this page, you can start replacing this page. Why this is coming up? Because you don't have any URL right now, you don't have anything else right now. Okay, so if there is nothing, Django shows the default page. But whenever you will be having any URL also, so it will be replaced with your particular page whenever you will be having any page into it. So right now what we are getting is the basic Django page which shows that your server is running perfectly fine. As of now, just ignore what is this migration all about. This migration warning needs to be ignored. We'll talk about what is migration and all that. But as of now, just ignore it. And we have whole of this thing running. So this is the server where all the static request and get request and post request will come. If I'll reload that, the server will be refreshed. You can just check it out. I made a wall of this bracket D right here. When I refresh the server, everything will go downside as well. So after the wall, there would be some 5-6 lines because of the request of font and different fonts basically right here in order to load the page. Now this is what the power of Django looks like. That is within 5 minutes you have developed a page, basic page, which has nothing to do with your business, but it is a page, working page. Coming back, so it has already created a db.sqlite3 file for you. That means this is the file where your complete entire database would be stored. So right now we are not talking about that architecture into which front end is another layer, back end is another layer, and database is stored at some other place. No, we are talking about that architecture where backend and database are stored hand to hand each other. Okay, so you understand this because I run the file of manage.py which worked for me. Right here you can see. So manage.py is something which was running right now, which is running right now, and which will be running all together. We will not be touching any other file. And it maintained a db.sqlite3 file for the database. Coming on to first project, what are the different files? So this ASGI and WSGI are the files for graphics rendering. We need not to modify this at all throughout our beginner's journey with Django. This is something which tells you whether you want to print the things on a laptop screen or you want to print the things through a plotter and all that, some bigger level stuff, not as of now. Okay, this PyCache is nothing different than just a cache. Okay, it's created just because I reloaded the website more than 2-3 times. It's maintaining a cache for me. This init.py is nothing different, but it maintains a kind of modular hierarchy with this first project. So if you are aware of, if you are kind of rookie into Python, so you should be knowing about that. Whenever you want to make a folder, whenever you want to turn a folder into a module, we maintain an init.py into it. So what that init.py will do, it will declare this folder as a module, a callable module, which can be imported into another Python script. Then we have some urls.py and settings.py. So this is the project folder. So this settings.py will be having the configuration related to this particular project. I'll open that and let's see what all things are there. So it's having some base directory stuff, some secret key, some debug, allowed host, installed app, and all that stuff into it. So a lot of list, a lot of configuration, what will be the middleware, what will be the root URL config, templates, WSGI application, databases, auth password, so all the things like related to the project. related to the entire website, entire scope of Django. I'll be closing it now. Another thing is urls.py. So which will maintain the URLs for me. Now it has one URL right now, which is path admin, and it points out to admin.site.urls, which is already created stuff. What do I mean with this? That path admin means whenever I'll write here /admin, so it'll take me to that admin.site.urls, which is already defined a Django administration panel. So I can put up username and password and log in, which username and password I need to create by my own. Okay, and login, this is the predefined admin panel served by Django itself. So now what is the meaning of this? That into 5 minutes, you have a website, web page, basic web page running with you with no sense of your business, and an admin panel ready for you, which you can just customize in 5 or 6 lines of code. That is all required to customize this admin panel and use it for your purpose. Okay, so this is basic power of Django. It demonstrates the power of Django. Coming back ahead, so the URL, we can also add another URLs into it, but as of now I'm just closing it. I'll not be customizing any file right now. Okay, altogether we have covered first project part. Then we'll be talking about app part. Another question to you. Any doubt into this? Any sort of doubt, or you didn't get any the functionality of any particular file? I want you to clear your
What is this
interface.
init.py file?
Okay, init.py file is something, init stands for initializer. Okay, so something like you can say the constructor or stuff if you are aware of classes and object module, OOPS programming.
Yes,
And
yes,
if you are
yes.
aware of complete introduction about Python and complete in-depth introduction about Python, if you know Python completely, then the thing is that init.py is something which turns a folder into a module. You cannot make a folder and import it into another file. Just like we say, right? From matplotlib import pyplot, or from pandas import read CSV or something like this. So they are callable modules. We cannot import a folder itself. We can import a callable module. So init.py makes a folder, turns a folder into a callable module, which can be callable into another files, and this will be highly required to call this thing. And where it is called, see, I'll
Okay.
show you. It is called right here. Into the manage.py part, you can see there is first project.settings. So first project is called because it is turned to a module. If I'll remove that file, it will no more be a module. It'll just be a folder. Okay. So that is what the purpose. I would suggest not to alter ASDI, init.py and WSDI. Do not alter this. Just play with settings.py and urls.py throughout entire your website stuff. And PyCache will keep on creating and you can delete that. No worries for that. It will not be a problem. Okay. Till now, is this thing clear to all of you? Okay, so the question is to Jaren. So Jaren, if I want to change my database, which file I need to change on? If I want to change the database, if I want to change my database from MySQL to Oracle, Oracle to Postgres, Postgres to Node.js, sorry, not Node.js, MongoDB, MongoDB to some other database. Okay, then which file I need to change? The question is to Jaren. Okay, so I repeat, the question is that I want to change my database serving platform. Okay, what do I mean by database serving platforms? There are different database serving platforms like MySQL, Oracle, Microsoft, MySQL, Oracle, and all that. And then there is something like MongoDB. Then there is something like Cassandra DB, MariaDB, Postgres. A lot of data serving platforms are available. So which file do I need to change in order to change my database from one to another? Database platform from one to another. migration needs to be done. Okay, so migration is not that. Migration is about schema. So schema is something out of the scope for which what we have discussed yet now. Schema is more on about which column to keep, what will be the primary key, what will be the foreign key, what will be the limitation on column and all that. That is the schema part. So migration will deal with the schema architecture. Okay, what will be the number of columns, which column is there, which column is removed, which column will be added. No, but the platform part will not be migration. So as I discussed that there is some file named as settings.py into which whole of the configuration for project will lie. Okay, so the file which needs to be changed is this settings.py, and into this there is a particular region of databases right here. So right now what I'm using is I'm using default engine, which is django.db.backends.sqlite3, and which file os.path.join base directory plus db.sqlite3. So base directory is that directory where my manage.py is stored, and it has created one more file for me right there, which is db.sqlite3. Okay, so this file I need to change. Need to restart my network connection facing video lag. Okay, yeah, you can restart. I hope it's clear to others. Other of you, can you go for the video part clearly? Can you see the screen clearly? Shiv, Sangram, Saurav, go for some reply on audio itself, I guess. It'll work more. Yeah. So Jaren, you can reconnect it. No worries. Well, moving ahead, the question is to Sangram, that if I want to make one more page just like Kalskill's blog, and I want to add a URL anything.com/blog, which file I need to change? How can I add one more URL into it?
Hello.
Yes, Sangram.
Yes, sir. Can you repeat the question, sir?
Yeah, I said that I want to add
You
one more.
want to add one URL into.
Basically, I want to add one more page into my website. Okay, and that page would also be having a URL for that.
Sir, the
Okay, so
URL is .py file.
yeah, so we need to change
Sir,
it on
sir,
URL.
sir, there is a question, sir. Sir, can we use NoSQL database to it?
Yeah, we can use any sort of
Like
database.
DynamoDB, Aurora is there, sir. Sorry, sir, Aurora
Or
is relational database, sir. Like
Mongo,
DynamoDB, sir.
MongoDB, DynamoDB. Yeah, DynamoDB.
Yes,
You can use MongoDB. You
yes,
can
sir.
use
In cloud we use
Cassandra. You can use
DynamoDB.
Cassandra, Mongo, Dynamo. Any one of them, you can use it. But for now, we'll stick to SQLite,
Yes,
and
sir.
on the later part, we'll be moving on to Postgres. As of the beginning, because NoSQL will be something a different scope of study, that what is NoSQL, that what is NodeSQL and how to use that and all. That will be a different scope of study. But for now, we'll stick to relational database, and into relational database, we'll tweak between SQLite and Postgres.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Fair. So we can head on to the another folder, which is the first app folder. Okay, that will be storing the configuration of this particular application app inside the folder. Now there is one folder named as migration. Jaren, are you on the track now? Jaren, can you see the screen and hear me properly now? Okay, go for the audio reply, guys. It will save the time. Okay, there is some lag in the video. I'll just stop sharing and reshare it again. Okay, now are you able to see that? Are you able to see that now, Jaren? What about others? Others, Shiv, Sangram, Saurabh, are you able to see that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so there is something wrong on the network, might be not it's not supporting the rendering of the screen. Might be something wrong. So what you can do is you can just stick to it for now, and then visit the video, and then find the stuff, because video is getting recorded at my end. So everything will be crystal clear on because it's from my side. Okay. So anyways, moving ahead, that we were talking about the next thing, which is first app part. Now into the app, what are the different things into this app? So there is one thing, one folder which is named as migrations. So this folder will be keep on storing different migration files. And what is migration? Let me tell you. Okay. So right now it's just a modular file. It will keep on adding files and files and files. So, okay, like the files will keep on adding into it, getting stacked into it. Then there is, so what is migration? Let's discuss this. Suppose you are having a database of 10 columns and you suddenly want to have one more column into it. Then what you need to do, just not changing in Python will work, because this is something related to database. So you need to make changes into your database schema as well. Okay. And what do I mean by making changes into database schema? This particular thing is known as migration. So what migration means? In simpler words, migration means change in the schema level architecture of any database, whether it be adding a column, removing a column, whether it be adding a constraint like primary key, unique, not null or so, or whether it be changing the data type of any particular column, whether it be changing something like the limit of varchar into the database, and everything like that will be covered under the migration part. So migration will take care of all of that. Then there is something named as admin.py. So admin.py is a file which will take care of what and what not to be introduced to your admin panel. Okay, so there would be obviously different admin panels. Now if there are different admin panels, so suppose let's talk about Facebook. So into Facebook, there would be different admin panels. Admin panel for newsfeed, admin panel for messaging, admin panel for group, because that company is so much big that one person cannot, or one team cannot be the admin of whole of the Facebook. No, it cannot be done. There would be some master admin obviously, which would be having the password ID password for all of the admin panels, but there would be smaller admin panels as well, zone level admin panels or block level admin panel. So this admin.py will take care of the admin panel related stuff for this particular app. Then next thing is about apps.py. So apps.py is something which we'll not be going to use in the near future, in the beginning as well. But this file will be talking about different apps and their correlation. So this thing makes the app a kind of a plugin feature which you can use for different projects in a while. Then there is something like init.py, which is simple enough as a module. So this is nothing different than a module. Models.py will store, what do I mean by model right here? So model will store entire of your database structure. Model will store the database structure. Any change in the model will be shipped to the database platform with the help of migration. So migration, as you can relate with the English word, migrate means moving on, moving from one point to another. So migration in Django is nothing different but shipping the database changes or any addition or removal of column or any change in the constraint or so from the Python code to the database serving platform. Okay, just wait for a second. Okay, so then there is something like test.py. So test.py is the file wherein
Hello.
when you work on, yeah, am I audible?
Sir, can you explain the models.py?
Yes, I'll explain
So I'm
models.py.
facing some voice lagging, sir, now.
Okay, no worries. So models.py is the file which will basically, in this file you will write whole of your database schema. So your models.py would be basically object oriented stuff, into which we'll be creating class for every table whichever you want to create, and the elements of that table would be the name of the columns. Suppose I want 5 tables on my database, with every column every table would be having three columns each. So what I need to do right here is 5 classes, with every class having 3 objects with some particular data type. So that is what the models.py will be stored. So any change, what is the difference between migration and models? Models.py is the file where you will make the changes, okay, and migrations.py is the file wherein so migration.py you will not change by your own. You just run a command of python manage.py make migrations and migrate. So what is the meaning of that? That it will be auto created by the Django platform, by the Django framework, and this will take care of the shipping of database architecture and any change into the database architecture from the end of Django, from the end of backend to the end of database. I have shown you that database and backend are two different things, okay, but it usually gets stored into similar place for the smaller website, and is distributed to different places at in the case of bigger websites like Facebook and Instagram. So I hope it is clear now.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so then there is something like test.py. So test.py is a file which will, so when you write bigger amount of code, when you work on code of 100 line and 200 line and so if you are aware of, there is something like unit testing, module testing, and the final testing, deployment testing known as. Okay, so these whole test cases would be written like here. So suppose you have made a calculator. Now what you want to do is you want to test your calculator. How would you test it? You will give different inputs, like you will give sometime 2 and 3 and plus, then it will get tested. Then you will try to fiddle it with adding a positive number and a negative number. So you will do 2 plus bracket minus 3 bracket close, and you also give the correct result into it. So what you're doing is you are automating the test to say, okay, if 2 plus minus 3 is minus 1, then this test is passed. Otherwise, if it leads any other result, then this test is failed. Simply like hacker earth. Okay, so when you give the input, they already know the output, what you are trying to predict. So if you are able to predict that output, not predict, if you are able to code that output, that means you are correct. And if you are not able to code that output, that means you are incorrect. You are failed in the hacker earth test. I hope test part is clear. So you design different test cases, like you also try your calculator with divide by 0. So you do something like 5 divided by 0, and the answer for that is infinity or whatever, some not defined number. Okay, not getting into mathematics right now, so a not defined number. And if your algorithm is returning anything different than a not defined number, that means your calculator needs to get an improvement. So this test case would fail. So that is what the purpose of test.py is, that in order to write the test cases which will auto execute it all the times whenever you make any changes into the website and when you run this particular test case. So then it will return you the list that this test passed, this test failed, this test is passed, this test is failed, and so on. Okay, then next thing is views.py. So views.py is the backbone of this app and the controller. So this will take care of complete control of the entire website. All the data from the front end would be received into backend via this views.py file. All the data would be sent from the backend to the front end via this views.py file. Whole of the modules, whole of the functions, whole of the front end calling, which function, which web page will be called, whole of this would be called with views.py file. And view has nothing to do with what is known as view. View means that watch or look. This is not that view. Okay, so views.py is more on the controller. So are you aware of MVC architecture, if you have heard of it? So MVC architecture is basically of 3 words: model, view, and controller. In this case, our model remains the models.py. Our controller will be the views.py. Okay, and our views would be something different, and that thing would come up in the later on part, that is known as templates. So we'll be talking about templates as well. So that templates will become the view. So MVC will be having model, view, and controller. So model is the database part, which is models.py. Views is the lookout part, which is templates, that is not there by default, which we need to create. And controller is the views.py. I hope till this point it is clear to everybody right here, all of you. Is this thing clear to all of you?
Bhaiya, actually I have some network issue, so I don't clear with the test.py and views.py.
I'll repeat it again. So test.py is the file in which you will write different test cases. Okay, and when you will write different test cases, what does this mean is that you are just telling your machine. So suppose you have Okay, what do we basically do in order to connect it to the testing? We understand something in our college classes, and then we go for assignments or internal examination and external examination and university examinations and so on. So this is the basically test case going on with you. So what you do, you write your test cases into this, and then whenever you call this test.py, so what basically happen is, this is more on the team development. So whenever a part of team would make any changes into the program, into the entire flow of the website, then the final person, before pushing it on the deployment, they go for running some test cases. Okay, just like this button is working or not, this image is loading or not, this logic is clear or not, and all that. So what you need to do is, in order to implement, suppose there are 500 buttons in your website, so you cannot click 500 times into your website and check that. What you can do is, you can write a test case for that, and that test case would be written into this particular file. So what Django is giving you a framework to write codes of different things at different places and call them whenever required. Simple enough. So they already give you different files to work on, and you can just divide your code depending on what kind of code it is. If it is regarding database, put it on models.py. If it is regarding test, put it on test.py. If it is regarding controls, put it on views.py. If it is regarding URL, put it on urls.py. If it is regarding admin panel, put it on admin.py. Okay, and all that. Although you can do the same thing in a single file as well, but that will create a lot of mess. Seriously, a lot of mess, and that is not at all required to be there. Okay, so I hope it is clear now, Shiv, and to others as well. What is test? What is use? What is models? What is admin? What is apps? What is migration? Well, one more question right now. So the question is that I have a column, I have a table with 5 columns. I want to add one more column into it. So what all I need to do? What is the first step? What is the second step? What is the third step? I want to add one more column into it. So how many steps firstly? Then what will be those steps? Where do we need to make the changes? Where we need not to make the changes? Which file would be connected to that? And all that stuff. Well, I repeat my question. My question is, I already have a database with one table into it, which is having 5 columns. Okay, and that I want to add one more column into it. Which particular file I need to make changes on? I get some output. Models.py. Okay, if I have made the changes on models.py, what else I need to do then? Only one thing left for the discuss. So we discussed two things about databases. One is models.py. One is one more. We're just missing that thing. Migration. Correct. So what we need to do is, we need to write the changes into models.py. Okay, whatever schema change you want to go for that. And once the changes would be written, it will be done on our backend part. But we need to push that change onto the database layer as well. So we will make the migration from the backend to the database.
Hello,
And how to
sir.
do that, that is separate part. Yes, Sangram.
Sir, can you again explain the difference between the migration and the models?
Right. So models.py is the place wherein you write the code, and you basically suppose have what I said, that one table means one class, and into one class there will be different objects. So those objects would be the different columns. So if you have 5 columns, that means you have 5 objects into it, data members basically. Now, not the object. Object is the realization of the class, not that. You have a class, into that you have 5 data members. I was using the wrong terminology by now. So now 5 data members. If you have added one more data member, that means you have added one more. You want to add one more column as well. So now this thing is added onto your backend layer. But what we need to do is, we need to have it on a database layer as well. Okay, so what do I mean by database layer? That the database, wherever it is stored, MySQL, Postgres, pgadmin. Pgadmin is not database basically, it's different stuff. But MySQL, Postgres, or MariaDB, MongoDB, CassandраDB, DynamoDB, whichever DB we want to use. Okay, so in that layer we also want to push those changes. So that's where migration will come into picture. Okay. So is it clear now, Sangram?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. So I hope all the files listed here are clear to you. I'll repeat it again. So we have, when we started, we'll be having 3 files right here. One is, uh, sorry, 2 folders and 1 file. One is first app, one is first project, which are the 2 folders, and one is migrations.py, which is the file. So migration.py is the file which we will be keep on calling time or the other in order to start our server, and all the files would be auto interconnected to this particular, and it is already interconnected. We need not to work on that. Then secondly, there is something like first app and first project. So the first project folder will store all the things related to this particular entire structure of the website or entire project. It will be having settings.py, it will be having urls.py, it will be having wsgi and asgi.py. The cache you can ignore. Then the first app is the particular app stuff. Into it, the settings and all that stuff related to this particular application. So what we can configure views, models, test, apps, admin, and migration, and all that. Right? So all the things I hope are clear to you. So now our next task would be to start working on Django, and for that we will be basically needing Django on all of your system and to have this particular hierarchy in your system. So I hope it cannot be done right now. What we can do is we can wait for the next class, and then in the next class we'll be talking about firstly how to build a basic hello world website into it, and then the second part would be the later on part would be to start connecting our front end, our back end, our HTML, CSS, Bootstrap, and making beautiful pages into them. So whatever you have learned into Bootstrap, how to connect it with Django and all that. Okay, so this is what our purpose would be. Fair enough? Okay, any doubt into this till now? Fine. So well, that is all for today's class, and in the next class we'll be talking about building the basic website with Django, connecting HTML, CSS, Bootstrap, and everything into it. That will be our basic purpose on the next time. Okay, so see you in the next class then.